You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Classic case of probably both opponents feeling like, okay, Houston is feeling, man, we hung in there, is gritty, we found a way, we didn't have our best. Whereas Oregon State's going, they didn't win, we lost again. We won the stat sheet. It was about what we did. And they're both probably right. But, yeah, Houston got down early. And in these trips, and you're going to have to go make the same exact trip next September. It's a long ways off. The time zone's different. The start time will be goofy at times. Because Houston was also, I believe, a double-digit favorite going up to Oregon State. I think they were like 13 and a half point favorite and just barely hung on to win it, obviously late in overtime. But Houston, their quarterback is going to make plays in pretty much every game he plays in. He's really good with his legs, with his arm. He's very good. My concern for them is they've got a really good tight end that was, I guess technically he transferred from Wisconsin, but he really spent the time at Ball State last season. He was at Wisconsin during the spring, and he's like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm out. So he spent like 14, 15 practices, whatever, bailed out, went to Houston. And then they've got a running back, Dean Connors, that transferred across town from Rice. And they've got a couple of receivers that'll make a play. There's just not a whole lot of playmaking there. It's really relies on the quarterback and to make plays. But he will make some. And they beat Oregon State over the top twice in the fourth quarter. Oregon State held them to like 7 yards of offense in the third quarter, and then gave up 180 in the fourth quarter because of a couple of big plays there that Wegman made to his tight end and one of his wideouts. And those are things that you can't happen. But really the inexcusable part, because this is what caused Oregon State Trent Bray to, in his post-game press conference, we'd seen this movie before. It ends the same. Arms crossed, or folded, in his post-game press conference. And he turned, I think he turned 43 over the weekend. So happy belated birthday, Coach Bray. But yes, he had his arms crossed and he was dropping words that he shouldn't have. And then but at least this time he immediately apologized. Sorry, he looked off to the side, whoever was there. Sorry for my language. But it's his special teams. They failed them. He was asked multiple times, I think actually 3 different times, 3 different ways. Are you going to make a change with your special teams coach or whatever? Because they get 2 field goals blocked. Houston takes advantage there. They just ate it up. There's like 4 guys that could have blocked the field goal at the end of regulation. And then in overtime, there's a 4th and 1, which kicked the ball, but they don't want to do it because they're afraid they're going to get their field goal blocked, and they don't get it. And, so one thing led to another. But this was credit to Houston. They are one of 20 teams that are undefeated in the country, you being another one. And so it is set up an undefeated matchup between 2 4-0 teams in Houston, Texas on a Saturday night.
That's what I was pulling for. I hate to be like putting on my Cougar Pride coat on Friday night or anything like that, but was definitely hoping they were going to be 4-0 whenever they welcome the Red Raiders. We'll get more into this matchup, obviously, as we go through the week, but just some initial thoughts, Chris. I was kind of curious defensively for Texas Tech if from a pass defense standpoint, this is the biggest challenge they've seen so far this season, for whatever that is worth, but maybe also the biggest opportunity for the pass rush, maybe to get busy in the backfield that we've seen in a while. I don't know, but what do you think about that secondary versus that QB and that passing attack? First, today's episode brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local sports bar, the coffee shop, or the corner store that's been serving your neighborhood for decades. These are the kind of places that bring people together. And when neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world, including some local favorites in the 806 like Shadow Hills Golf Course, The Outdoor Chef, Quarter 4, Lubbock Welding Supply, Sugar Bakers, and a whole lot more. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more today. But before you do, go support your favorite local spot. Powered by Square. See you in the neighborhood.
Wegman is going to be better than Dampier was, and he may have a weapon or two that's better than what Utah has overwhelmingly. Here's the problem that Houston may have. What Dampier had, and again, I know that the Utah folks are like, okay, now everybody gets to see what happens when you play Devin Dampier with a healthy ankle. Whatever. I don't buy any of the ankle stuff. You can blame your own coach for that. Like you got smoked, thumped. Pick a word. I don't care. And then you got to go do the same thing to West Virginia. Good on you. But the Red Raiders will continue to use that win and prop itself up for the variety or for the rest of the season. So thank you, Utes. But what Houston does not have is the guys up front. That's where I really wonder because I mean if you watch that Oregon State game. Andre Ware was on the call, former Houston Cougar quarterback. They were talking about how Oregon State had really won the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball for the better part of the night. Would seem to be a red flag if you get similar play from Houston and you get similar play to what we've seen from Texas Tech. That's where, Wegman's, maybe him being a bit better that could be negated, but he's nifty. He will run around and that's what you're about to start seeing. This is going to be a rinse and repeat deal. Wegman, then Daniels, and then Levitt. I watched all three guys really this weekend at different times, and they can all tuck it and go and make you look really bad if you're not paying attention or if you overrush something or whatever. So
yeah,
and. Yeah, so but that's where my immediate concern for Houston, which I'm not concerned for them. I'm just saying if I was them, I may be worried about the group up front. Dalton Merriman being one of those guys, and he was kind of uninvited to the party here, and I don't think anybody was sad. You can go watch a replay of the Colorado game last year, and it's just.
Merry-go-round.
You want to know why you lost that game? You can go look at the left side of your offensive line and really pinpoint it right there.
So if the secondary is really being challenged, then maybe we got some problems because you're not doing what you should be doing at the line of scrimmage if they're able to give them some time or something like that. We'll get more into, obviously, the give and take as far as the matchup goes as we roll through the week. Anticipating there'll be plenty of Red Raiders in the crowd on Saturday night. Of course, Saturday night, at Houston, pack the extra banana clip. I'm not exactly sure what to tell you about that. Just keep your head on a swivel outside the gates. But yeah, I would think you'd have a great opportunity to get plenty of Red Raiders in that stadium. I don't know what it's been like before. I guess it's been a little bit, or we hadn't even been there as a conference member, right?
No, this is going to be your first. You were there in the Mike Leach era. You were there in the Cliff Kingsbury era. And the last time the Red Raiders were there was Tommy Tuberville was on the call, on the TV call. But yeah, you got after Houston that day, and there was a lot of Tech faithful here. This has a chance to be far different. This is a game that I think Tech fans have earmarked, and there's a ton of Central or South Texas alumni that from Texas Tech that have kind of been like, oh yeah, we're going to that one. And I think what's helped you is Houston, I don't think really did anything to prohibit you from buying tickets to it. I think that I would be shocked if it doesn't either become sold out or as close to it. I think there's a ton of, I don't know if we're talking 50-50 or 60-40 or, and who has the 60, right? In that scenario, but I expect there to be a lot of Texas Tech fans there. You've seen the threads on the message board at RedRaidersports.com. Hey man, I bought 8. I'm taking my family of 4, and this was going on like the last couple weeks. So I expect there to be a heavy contingent and that will help. That will certainly help. It's a primetime game. I think it does help that Houston did end up beating Oregon State. That's what's you were kind of rooting for. I think that's a plus for the Big 12, but it also is, gets your attention a little bit because you'll go in with the expectation. Houston, keep in mind, folks, Houston has won 4 games in each of their first 2 years in the Big 12. Okay, they were 4-8 each year. They've already matched that win total from a year ago in Willie Fritz's first year. They have to have all the confidence in the world with nothing to lose. And so that's what should get Texas Tech's attention, and certainly Joey McGuire's.
Well, and a head coach who I've got a lot of respect for. I mean,
Yes.
I think he's probably going to have a positive impact on that program at some point, and it may be starting right now. But I would also say that, whether you're circling it or not, this is your regional in-state opponent for the year.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the only Texas two-step you get as far as dancing partners elsewhere across the great state, for whatever that is worth. Chris, before we get out of here, you were mentioning some of the other names that'll be upcoming that Texas Tech will be facing, obviously, down the road. And I was just curious to get your thoughts on some Big 12 action from the weekend that was elsewhere. Of course, we're talking Houston and Oregon State on Friday. Texas Christian, Arizona State. That was a great ball game. The Sun Devils win by 3. Arizona and Iowa State from Ames. Cyclones house the Wildcats. BYU by 3 on the road against Colorado. Cincinnati, Kansas, one of the best Big 12 games of the weekend as the Bearcats get a 3-point win there. Baylor, Oklahoma State. We already mentioned Utah, West Virginia. What stood out to you among the others?
Well, really the big one that maybe affected